Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest is John Rinnick from Tesla Realty.
Yep.
Realty Solutions, is that what it is? Tesla
Realty LLC.
All right.
Solutions, whatever you need.
All right. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff here. We met through a mutual friend of ours in a basketball game at 5 o'clock in the morning at Esporta. And my buddy was like, first he was telling me, he didn't even tell me you were a realtor. Yeah. He was just like, I know you're on your weight loss journey and you're going through there. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah. You've lost 100?
In total I lost to like 210
pounds.
Yeah.
Like two people, you know what I mean? Two small children you've lost doing that. So talk a little bit about that part of it, because that's so important. You know, where were you at mentally, and we know physically, but where were you at mentally and spiritually, and how did you change yourself to get to this part? You know?
Yeah, so mentally wasn't obviously in the great, I was 393 pounds, so being damn near 400 pounds, you got
and you're not like 6'5".
No, I'm 5'3".
You're 5'3", right?
All of 5'3".
So yeah.
So yeah, I was a big dude, and then one day I was just like, my mom always approached me. She's like, "Why don't you look into the bariatric surgery?" So I was always like, I'm young, 'cause I was 22, I think I was at the time. It was 3 years ago. So I was 22. I was like, I'm young, because then you have so many limitations, right? To prep for surgery, after surgery, all that stuff. So I looked into it. I went to the consultation. Then I was like, why don't I just do it? I mean, I could save my life.
Right. Yeah.
So I went through with it.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. What's the worst thing? Right. I'm 400 pounds.
Right.
So I went through with it. And then there's so many things you have to follow after. It's not like you get the surgery and you lose weight.
It's not magic.
Not how it works. Right. You have to eat a certain way. You have to physically work out. You don't just wake up and you're 200 pounds lighter. Right. Not a lot of people lose as much weight as I did on that. I was only supposed to lose about 120-ish pounds, based on my size, my age and stuff. And then I just kept with the program, kept working out like a madman. But I felt great. I actually, I tell people all the time, it was a time when I started seeing how much weight I was losing. I started to actually put not just real estate, but life and everything on a back burner, because I became obsessed with not just the working out, but seeing the results. I started not putting time into work. And then once I got to that year point, because I lost all that weight in 1 year, actually. So I got to that 1 year goal of mine, whereas I wanted to lose the full 200 pounds, and I actually exceeded it. Then I was like, okay, now I hit my goal. Now it's time I have to make money.
Right, This was really cool, but
this was cool, but now there's stuff I have to do.
Right. So, when they call to repossess your car, you can't be like, but dude, I lost 200 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay the bills.
I kind of had to get myself back in gear. Listen, okay, now I changed my life. Now it's time to live life. And then 3 years later now, it's been 3 years, a little over 3 years now since the surgery, since I lost all the weight. I've kept the weight off,
right?
Which is good. A lot of people don't. So it's kind of been a complete lifestyle change to me.
Nice. Now, what changed from your everyday life between then and now? You religiously go to the gym.
Yeah,
for sure. You eat. You prepare your own foods versus buying.
Yeah, I try. So when I was first once I lost my weight, you have to keep it off. So I would work at least. People say 7 days a week. No one works out 7 days a week. I try to at least work to 4 to 5 days a week as I can, depending on my schedule. But kind of how real estate is you have you don't know what your schedule's going to be like every day. So that's why we do the 5 a.m. stuff. That's the only way it seems to get it out the way, or late at night. But sometimes if you rely on working out late at night, it never really happens.
Yeah, man.
It's tough. I'll just do it tomorrow.
10 o'clock is I'm going to wake up at 6 in the morning tomorrow and do my workout.
Exactly. So that's kind of prepare my foods, no portions, all that stuff. But yeah, working out was definitely a big factor. I didn't do too much of that back then.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you eat a certain, are you keto? Are you vegan? Or are you
I try all those type of diets. Now I really just try and hit a protein goal every day, or stay under a certain calorie, try and stay in that calorie deficit.
What about, do you go out to eat at all?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't strictly diet anymore, like how I had to when I lost all the weight. Because now I kind of am just maintaining my weight. I'm not looking to lose any more weight. Like, yeah, everyone can lose 5 or 10 pounds, and I could do that. But now I just try, during the week, I try and just eat clean as best as I can. Try not to eat out as much as I can. And then the weekends, I'm not gonna be pissed off if I have a cheesesteak or a hamburger or something. I can't eat as much as it anymore because my stomach is a lot smaller than it used to be. But I still enjoy myself.
Nice. Yeah. Now, do you like treat yourself? Do you give yourself like one day a week where you can have like ice cream, or is it?
I definitely still, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a freak, like I'm not like that anymore. Like, I definitely treat myself.
Okay.
Probably more than I should sometimes. But you try and just, you have to get back on track.
What about health stuff? Like your blood sugars and your blood pressure, was there a point, even though you're young, were you on medication?
No, I actually, surprisingly, I never was. I actually never had high blood pressure either, for being as heavy as I was.
Okay.
That was always shocking to even when I walk into the doctor's office, that they probably just assume automatically I have all these issues going on, but I didn't actually.
Okay.
I did have, the only thing I'd say that would improve like health wise is I had sleep apnea, and I no longer have that anymore.
Nice, that's awesome. All right, now let's talk a little bit about your business, because I know you have an interesting background. How did you get into the real estate industry? Because it's not like a family business for you. You have a family business, but it's not real estate.
So I graduated high school. I was going off to go to Rowan for business. What I was doing with the business, I had no idea. Finished my first year of college, and they had me taking a bunch of summer courses and stuff, and I was like, my dad's an electrician for the last 35 plus years, and I was like, he makes a very good living doing it, so I was like, why am I wasting my parents' money going to Rowan, all this stuff, when I could just follow suit? So I did, thought that'd be a good idea. Not that I hated it, but I hated it.
No offense, Dad, but this sucks.
So I did that for like 2 or 3 years, and then while I was there, I always wanted to get into flipping houses. Everyone thinks that's the easy thing to do. So I thought, well, if I'm going to flip houses, why don't I get my real estate license? So I went off to real estate school, got my license, and while I was in there, I was like, well, I can actually make a solid living, representing clients, buy and sell side, leasing side, all that stuff. So I kind of had to break the news to my dad, like, I don't think I'm going to come back. I think I'm going to give this real estate thing a go. And that was 5 years ago, and the rest was history. But I definitely, the first year or two was a grind. It wasn't like I was selling houses. I didn't sell my first house until I think like 10 months of having my license. So it was rough not having like an income to fall back on and stuff.
Now, how, with a family business and all that, were your parents supportive? Or was it a really tough conversation to have?
It was a tough conversation to have, but they supported me 100%. Like, right when I told my dad, he supported me 100%. My mom's definitely a lot harder on me when it comes to like the money thing and having the whole career. So she was definitely a lot harder on me on that. But she supported me for sure. And then once I started actually, getting a little busier, then she started to see like that you can make a living off of it. Right.
And so the flipping houses part of it, that was the more attractive thing to you. It wasn't like you...
Yeah, that's what I thought was the goal, but, it doesn't always work out that way. Like, I didn't get involved in my first flip until this year. Four plus, almost 5 years later. So I've represented a ton of clients since then, but I was never involved in a flip until this year. So me thinking I was getting into real estate for flipping houses, I didn't start my first flip until 5 years in.
Right, that's awesome.
That's kind of how it worked out.
Now, do you tend to be gravitating more towards the investor type business because you understand that, or do you more... because you're younger, doing the first-time home buyers, because the kids that you went to high school with are going to be buying their first house if they're not now.
So that's kind of how I started getting busy. I got all my business from, there's not a lot of people my age that are in real estate. There's a few. I'm friends with a few that are. But kind of everyone who's looking for houses now that I graduated with, at least, they are all like gravitating towards me to help them find their first house. So I do have a lot of first-time home buyers. I would say the investor type didn't start for me until like a year or two ago. I think maybe because I didn't have as much experience. But now I can get off-market deals. I have wholesalers I can deal with. I have other referral partners I deal with. But when I was first getting started, I didn't have any of that. So now it's definitely a mix. I'm getting a lot of sellers now versus I used to only have buyers.
Right.
Usually when you're first starting, the first 10 deals are family and friends.
Sure.
That's how it starts. Always buying. They don't trust you selling their house. But that's how it started. Now it's starting to level off. I'm starting to get just as many sellers as I am buyers,
Right.
which is good. It's a lot more work with buyers, but I do love working with buyers.
Nice. Now, you were at a big name place earlier on, and you went to a smaller, more mom and pop type place. What was the attraction going to a more, what nowadays people call like a boutique agency versus the big?
I was working with somebody that I've done work with in the past. We got along really well. He helped me out even when I was with the big name through tons and tons of deals. He always would let me know, hey, I have a listing coming up if you have a buyer. You know, let's work a deal, and vice versa. And we just clicked really well. We still talk pretty much every day. Like, it's not like he's my team lead and, you know, I hear from him once a month.
Right.
Not that was the case when I was with the other brokerage, but we talk every day. We just get along very well. That was kind of what I liked about him. He was already trying to work deals with me, even he had no ties to my other deals.
Right.
So after we sat down and talked, it was a pretty good decision I made. And it wasn't like I wasn't doing well at the other places I was at. It was just at that time, it was just the right decision to make.
Sure.
And last year was my best year in real estate by almost double. So
nice.
I'm hoping just to keep doubling.
Keep doubling. Keep doubling. Yeah. So what about the job do you dislike? Like, what do you, when it comes to this, you're like, man, I hate that shit.
I mean, there's not too many things you dislike about it, but I do hate how when the market started to turn. It is, you know, it's tough to get people buyers, no matter how qualified your buyers are. With this market and the rates and stuff, it's tough because you see how disgruntled the buyers can be when they're on their third or fourth deal that get declined. It's tough for those buyers, especially those first-time home buyers.
Yeah, it sucks losing 20 offers in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sucks for them.
Inventory's not there.
A lot of the first-time home buyers, they're not sitting with $50,000 in the bank, so they can't make that big appraisal gap that like a cash buyer, they don't even need an appraisal. But the other conventional buyers can, you know, they'll cough up $20,000 or $30,000 towards that gap appraisal. When those first time FHA buyers, they don't have that money sitting in the bank. So that is disgruntling when I have to deal with those type of things, because back then I was able to get those people that were approved for $200,000, you know, boyfriend girlfriend type people. I could get them into a condo. Or now forget about it. If you're FHA under $200,000. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where
Camden, and really there ain't even parts of that where you're going. Yeah. Okay. So what do you think was your best lesson that you learned? Like when you got done, you were like the quarter fell or it clicked, and you're like, man, I learned that. Like, what was the thing, the hump that you got over, the lesson you learned you think has been the most made you more successful? You know?
I think just kind of not worrying about the numbers, not worrying about like you have a $600,000 deal. It's just as important as that $145,000 deal. You know what I mean? I think I told you about this another time when we were together. I had a deal that was like, I never thought I would work any deal with these people. They were approved for at maximum like $165,000 or something. I ended up finding them a place in Woodbury. They were supposed to close on the house. Something happened like a couple days before closing where they were living in a hotel pretty much, and they had no more money to spend, no money whatsoever to spend, and they had to close this day, and it just wasn't working out with the title, it wasn't working out with the mortgage, where they were going to actually have to close a week later, and if they were spending, you know, $300-$400 a night at a hotel, they were not going to have enough money for the cash to close. And so one of my good buddies at the title company of New Jersey, he helped me out. He had a place in Williamstown where he was like, hey, you know, I know someone messed up. Not saying they did, but I think it was more on the mortgage end on something they forgot to get paperwork into them. And he was like, listen, I have a place that I just renovated. It's not rented yet. Let them stay there free of charge. And he saved them all that money. And they were able to close a week later. So it wasn't a lesson I learned. It was just like a wake up call. Like some people have it rough, but they're trying to become, you know, home buyers. And that was like a good accomplishment that I felt, even though, you know, it was very minimal money you got. But like I said, now I'm not worried about how much money you make off it. Just getting people into their home and making sure they're satisfied. Stuff like that.
Sure. And what types of social media do you use? Like, that's really a big buzzword in there. You're younger. Are you a TikTok, Snapchat person? Are you Facebook? Are you Instagram?
So for I'd say for real estate, TikTok's starting to take off. I haven't really hopped on that trend yet for like my real estate stuff. I still think I get the most business from Facebook, believe it or not. Even though I'm part of that younger generation, I still post on the Instagram, you know, the stories, the reels, all that stuff. But I still think I get the most attraction on Facebook. for sure.
Now, do you think people your age also, like I know my 22-year-old daughter is not on Facebook ever, so I don't know that I would get her friends for business.
So I definitely get more. You're right about that. I get more business from Facebook, but I will definitely get people who message me and reply to my stuff more my age on Instagram. But I think I think you get it from anywhere. But I think people are I see people closing deals on TikTok now, and like I never hopped on that train yet. I don't know if I will, but if it gets you deals,
hey, look, if you get it, I'm there. I'm trying to figure it out. I did a little bit of like research on Snapchat. I never understood it. It was like a weird thing. Like I get why people send nude pictures and stuff like that, but I don't understand how you use it for business. I was like, I guess this would be cool if I was 20, but I don't get hated doing business. But then TikTok, like I look at it. You know what I mean? I watch it. I do some videos. I do some stuff for it. But I still have yet to figure out how to make the algorithm work to actually turn into business for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like hit or miss. Like I've posted stuff on TikTok, not business related, just like stupid stuff about like I'll post like working out videos, running when I'm going for my runs. I just did that Broad Street run. In Philly last week. I posted that on there. So it's like hit or miss. Like I'll post something I think is gonna like blow up. It'll have like 6 views, and then I'll post something stupid and it'll have like 6,000 views. Like, it's like hit or miss. Like I'll never understand the algorithm, how people get business off of it, or how it even works, how it gets on your like For You page or whatever it's called. I never understood how it works, so that's why I never tried to learn it. I should, but I just haven't yet.
But do you directly go after people on Instagram? Like, are you doing ad budgets and stuff like that, or you're just posting?
Nah, just my own posts and stuff. I pop some. I used to before I paid for some stuff where I pop up on people's like sponsored pages. I never really got any results from them, so I didn't do that any longer. That was really
That's it. All right. Now we're going to talk about your future stuff. Let's go 2 years in the future. Give me some goals that you have that you're going to accomplish, or some life accomplishments you're going to check off your boxes.
Yeah, so real estate wise, by then I'd like to like triple my sales. So I did about $4.5 million last year. So I hope by then I could be at that 15 million mark by myself. I'd like to get some people to join a team, maybe have my own team by then, or maybe get some people on my current team, recruit them on, mentor them a little bit, as I had a lot of people mentored me walking up into real estate. I'd like to, stay healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy.
Get healthy.
What about flips and rental properties wise? Because I know like real estate's your passion. So.
Yeah, I have a couple of rentals right now. A flip going on now. I'd like to, keep that going. Add some more rentals to my portfolio. I'm not sure how many yet with this market. Not sure how many flips I'll close, but I definitely want to keep staying busy with them.
How are you at being a landlord? Because I sucked at being a landlord. I had a bunch of rental properties at one time. I'll never do it again unless I hire a management company to do it. Because I am a big softy, and people are like, oh man, I was going to pay my rent, but my kid broke his leg, and we're in the emergency room, and I'll pay it on Thursday. And I'm like, it's okay. And then
so I was a pretty easy landlord, I'd say, until I actually work for a property management company now.
Okay.
Aside from everything else I do, shout out to Terra Vestra. I work for them, and they oversee like over 700 rental units all around South Jersey. So once I got involved with them, I kind of learned how to be a tough landlord and to be the correct landlord, not just a tough landlord, but follow the ropes, follow the procedures, because there's laws around things that like before I didn't know. There's certain procedures you have to follow. So now it's definitely a lot easier. I'd say before I kind of was just like, hey, do you have your rent? Or hey, send me a Venmo or I'll pick up cash. Like I didn't know procedures to follow. Now I know there's certain things I need to send to the city or the state, rental registrations, all that stuff. If you're dealing with Section 8, how to toggle through that. Certain procedures, how to doc everything you do, make sure there's a paper trail of everything you do, an email chain, a text chain, when you have stuff to fall back on if, God forbid, you get taken to court or something you do. Like I had to go to court a couple months ago from one of my Camden County evictions.
They suck.
Camden County is the worst right now. How far they're backlogged. It worked out in my favor, luckily. But yeah, Camden County.
I did not have a similar experience. It took me 3 different times to go into court.
Oh yeah, it took.
Each one was a month apart.
Yeah.
So it was 3 months of going there. The guy promised to pay. Finally, after the third time, they filed the eviction papers. They gave him 30 days to leave, and they wouldn't let me file a judgment against him for.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's rough. I didn't have my first. I filed for eviction in April of last year. I had court in March of the following year, so it was 11 months before my trial was heard. So I went 11, 12, 13 months almost without rent.
Yeah.
So it was tough versus like Gloucester County and Salem, Cumberland. It's only like a month anywhere, depending what county, like a month to 3 months.
Right. As long as they're already.
Yeah, as long as you have all the paperwork. But once you file, you'll have court in a month to 3 months, 4 months, some of them. But Camden County was a year for me. Yeah, so that was rough. It's getting a little better now. I think they're at like 9 to 10 months now, but
still horrible.
Still horrible.
All right. So the last time we talked, did I give you sports or music? Which one did I give you?
You gave me music.
Okay, we're going sports. Okay. So tomorrow morning, you wake up, a genie comes to you and says, you can go see any sporting event throughout history that you ever could have seen. What event do you want to go to, and who are you going to take with you?
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch probably Michael Jordan play basketball.
Okay.
Maybe that 95, 96, 97, one of those seasons, because I never got to see Michael Jordan play basketball. I was alive, but I don't remember it.
Right.
Because I think LeBron is my number one of all time. So for me to keep that argument going, I need to see.
I'm an old school guy, but you won't get an argument from me because I think LeBron's better than Jordan. But hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Michael Jordan play so I can finally say.
And who are you bringing with you?
Probably my dad. Okay. I'll bring my dad. He lived through it. He's not a big sports guy, but I know he'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We'll be right back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.